Well, here we are again. Season 3 of Voltron Legendary Defender has just dropped on Netflix. It's humid as shit where I am here in Michigan, so I can barely fucking breathe. So that's double the plus. Plus I got a bit of a headache, probably due to sinuses. So that's great. And I'm about to watch a show that really, I don't know why I keep going, other than the fact that it's associated with a show I hold dear to me, which is Voltron, because this show, throughout 2 whole seasons, has had almost nothing going for me. Like, do I find the animation incredible? Not really. I mean, it's good, but like, not like mind-blowing or anything like that. Do I think the characters are good? No, they barely develop. Do I think the action is neat? Not really. I've seen way more impressive action scenes out of comedy shows, for fuck's sake. Do I think the voice acting, or the acting in general, is really awesome? I mean, the voice actors do a good job, but nothing that made me just go, wow, they really did that amazing. No, not really. Is the plot all that interesting? No, especially not in terms of tone, as I've complained about a lot. So, I've really got nothing to work with here. So in that sense, I will give a spoiler warning, because I figure if you're this deep in, and you've been, for some reason, keeping up with these videos, then you really probably don't care about spoilers, and you're more just thinking about what my reaction is, and instead of just kind of talking about certain elements, right? So, yeah, like, I'm just gonna do this complete off the cuff, full of spoilers. You've been warned. But my prediction, I don't think this season is gonna change anybody's mind. 3 seasons in, I don't know how many people would stick with a show they don't like for that long, first of all. Second of all, I feel like, based on previews, if you liked seasons 1 and 2, you're probably gonna like this, and if you didn't, this ain't gonna change your mind any. Maybe, maybe not, maybe I'll be surprised, who knows. But, I don't know, just, the trailers haven't really sold me. The fact that they cut the season in half and they're giving us the second half of the season in October, that really miffed me. I say they should have just straight up waited until fucking October and just released the whole damn thing, but what can you do? So, let's see, the first episode is Changing of the Guard. Well, judging by the trailers, maybe it'll be about Keith becoming leader, who knows. Okay, so this is gonna sound totally off after what I just said, but honestly, that episode was actually pretty solid. Probably what got me invested in it the most was the fact that this is one of the few episodes where they actually keep a consistent tone throughout the whole thing. Like, yeah, there's like 2 little bits of humor, quote unquote, like, but they're very quick and they're not invasive. They don't ruin the tone at all. They don't distract me, nor do they annoy me. Like, are they funny? No. But at least they're not pissing me off like they would before. So, and yeah, they come from Koran, but again, they're quick and fast, and it's just like, whatever. Like, it's not being in your face about it, you know what I mean? So that was one thing, but another thing was that this is the episode that introduces Prince Lotor, and I actually do like both his voice and design, and I feel like they handled his introduction very well, actually. Similar to, classic Voltron, they establish him to be a master swordsman. He's a charming leader, but is also evil to the core. There's a pretty great moment where he's like, feed him to the ice worms, like, but like, so that was really neat. And the sword fight them given is actually pretty decently choreographed. I liked it. And again, another thing I've complained about with this show is its pacing, and I felt that this episode was actually pretty good about it, all things considered. It even showed it wasn't fast. It lets you absorb the details. in terms of the plot itself, it showed, the natural consequences of the finale of Season 2. As well as, again, highlighting everyone's quote-unquote character traits, but you're not being super annoying about it. Like, I mean, we'll see later as it goes on, but as of right now, like, for example, take Hunk, how I bitched in Season 2. Hunk had been reduced to pretty much nothing but food. Like, every single word out of his fucking mouth was like, yeah, what if we ate a burrito, though? Or, some shit like that. But, here, no, he's just, yeah, food's a big thing, but, like, it's not literally everything out of his fucking mouth. And, the action scenes on the lions were pretty nice, too. It actually showed them using their unique array of weaponry to their advantage. Good! So yeah, that was a good introduction. Hopefully, the later episodes can keep up this sort of pace, because then, I might actually like this season. There might actually be hope for this show. So, next up is the Red Paladin. We'll see how that goes, I guess. Okay, so, holy crap. 2 good episodes in a row. Dude. Alright, that is a first. But here's the thing. The ironic part about this episode. Everything that makes it shine is ripped right out of, the original. Voltron Defender of the Universe. The episode details Keith becoming leader and piloting Black Lion, Lance getting promoted to Red Lion, and Allura now piloting Blue Lion, just as it was in the original show, and they even have their mismatched pilot suits. The implication seems to be it's going to stay that way. Allura gets her pink pilot suit from the original, and she justifies it by saying, oh, Erusians wear pink to honor fallen comrades. And the thing is, I don't know if the writers knew this due to, Voltron's Japanese origin in Go Lion or not, but that is actually a thing in Japan. Pink does represent, in terms of color symbolism anyway, not only, girls, but also fallen samurai who died in the prime of their life, cherry blossoms and stuff like that. And that was indeed what Go Lion was going for when Allura ended up replacing Sven. So, if they did know that, cool, nice little nod. If not, you guys got lucky. There's also the fact that this version of Lotor is way more interesting of a character than this show's version of Zarkon. Lotor and the gang they kind of gave him, they're much more interesting to watch than the villains of Seasons 1 and 2 were. Because Seasons 1 and 2, I bitched that they were generic, they were boring, all they did was sit around and be dark and mysterious all the time. No, here, Lotor and his friends, they're much more active. They've got way more personality in them already than fucking Zarkon and Hagar did throughout all of Seasons 1 and 2. Jesus Christ. And so they're much more entertaining as a result. And as such, the action scenes involving them are also a lot of fun as well. That said, again, it's ironic that this episode is not good from the show's own merit, but because it drew from something that already had a strong foundation. So whether you want to give points to them for that or not, it's up to you. But me, I enjoyed myself with this episode, actually. There were a bit more quote-unquote humor bits, but again, they weren't annoying, at the very least. Like, they didn't make me laugh, but you know what? I'll take it at this point. Like, if they keep it to a minimum, or at least keep it non-super intrusive, fine. So, next episode is The Hunted. I really hope the show keeps this pace it's been doing. So, this episode was not bad. But it does give a bit of a bad sign. How do I put this? Well, the beginning and the end are good. But it's that middle part that almost unraveled the whole thing. What do I mean? Well, the episode deals with Keith not having sorted out his anger issues, and rightfully so in this case, because he lost his best friend. He sees an opportunity to possibly end the war before it even starts. He goes after Lotor and commands everyone to go after him, even though it's very clear they're not ready yet. This is understandable in terms of character plot. Lotor, in order to more show that he's a gifted fighter and not to be messed with. He's in a solo fighter jet, basically taking them all to town. Also not an issue. But here's where things get kind of dull. Later on, specifically near the middle part, the entire team starts to act really dumb. Like, there's a scene, and I mean, to the audience they explain what's going on, but there's a scene where Keith orders everyone to create a scouting circle and just unload whenever they see the fighter, right? So Keith is the first to see it, and he unloads, and everyone immediately notices that the laser blows up in his face. But yet everyone fires anyway to the same result. You see what I mean? Why wouldn't you, after the first, maybe the second, be like, oh shit, we're surrounded by explosive gas, better not use lasers, or something, you know what I mean? And then also, the middle part is where they start throwing more of the fucking annoying humor again, like, again, at first it didn't seem this way, but for this entire middle part, every line out of Hunk's mouth is, hey, what about food, and shit like that, and I'm like, God, shut the fuck up. Ugh. Christ almighty. But there are a couple more nods to old Voltron, and I will give it to this in terms of the last part of this episode. Voltron seems to be back to looking powerful, because that was the criticism I had of Seasons 1 and 2, especially Season 1, where Voltron looked like a fucking chump. Like, you know, even though it's supposed to be the strongest weapon in the fucking universe, it gets its ass handed to it all the time, but whatever. So, I don't know. We'll see how things go. The next episode is Hole in the Sky, and that preview image, oh my god, I hope they're not going to do what I think they're going to do. We'll see. So I'm convinced that to write this season, they straight up stole a bunch of scripts. This episode is one basically giant ripoff of an episode of Justice League. As some people might know, the quote-unquote Justice Lords episode. Here, the team discovers that due to an anomaly created by the Omega Comet, yes, it's shown up for the second time now, the first time was in Season 2, they end up in an alternate universe where Altea has taken over the universe by enslaving everyone and stripping them of their free will. Hello, Justice Lords. Sven also shows up in this episode. Not Shiro, but actual 80s Sven. He's got the accent, hair, everything. And they even straight up rip off the scene where he got mortally wounded in the original, and this actually pissed me right off, because it further confirms what I complained about with Season 1, in that Shiro is literally has nothing to do with Sven, even though he's supposed to be inspired by him. He's got Keith's personality and a couple of the backstory aesthetics, but nothing else, which makes me angry, because if you don't remember, Sven is my favorite character from Defender of the Universe. And they basically just kind of reduced him to, like, a fandom joke here. Pisses me off. There's also a plot hole in that Prince Lotor somehow not only knows there's an alternate reality, but somehow knows that the team will come back with a piece of the Omega Comet. Like, what the fuck? How? Doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, not only that, but just, I don't know, just overall the episode was really weak. Like, it feels like they're not really doing their own thing anymore, they're just kind of taking ideas from a bunch of other stuff, which, I mean, I guess that works a bit better, because their own original ideas were really bad if we're going by Seasons 1 and 2, at least in my opinion. But still, it's like, can't you guys do anything now? I don't know, it's a mixed bag. Overall, this episode did not grab me at all, and now it's starting to slip back into the boredom territory of Seasons 1 and 2, and I really, really hope this isn't going to be the trend for the rest of this. We're like at the halfway point, and I just want to enjoy myself for once, god damn it. So episode 5 is called The Journey. Yet again, this preview image makes me worried, but we'll see how it goes. So, another big elephant in the room was answered. Shiro's alive, and the reason he disappeared was because he was somehow captured by the Galra before the team could get to him, but yet the Galra didn't take Black Lion. Okay, well, that aside, the episode wasn't terrible, I guess. It's all about Shiro trying to escape the Galra and catch up to his team to reunite with them. There's this implication that he might be a clone, which has been sort of foreshadowed in the past seasons too, but here it's almost blatantly told you that, like, either they're cloning him or he is in fact a clone. Like the very opening scene. That said, the opening is very much inspired by Samurai Jack Season 5. Like with Shiro having scruff and the long hair, him having to escape an overpowering force, the fact that this episode has very little dialogue in, like, the first half of it. All that. But you can tell they were inspired. That said, towards the end, it seemed like they were about to do something that, had they done it, I would have given this show serious points for having the balls to do it. But, so, as fucked up as this might sound, okay, had they killed Shiro at the end of the episode, that would have been amazing. Like, they play up the scene where he's lost track of Voltron, he's running out of oxygen, his life is flashing before his eyes, and it almost seems like it's going to do a fade to black, right? But no, then all of a sudden, Black Lion catches the life signature, I guess, and rescues him. But had they ended it with him just dying off in space, just missing his chance of rescue, that would have been so fucked up. I would have given this show serious points for just having the balls to do it. That would have been awesome, okay? Like, I would have been like, this is worth watching just for that. Like, I don't know, just me? Am I fucked up? Like, I don't know. But yeah, that definitely would have been something. But yeah, next episode is Tailing a Comet. So I'm gonna assume it has to do with the Omega Comet and what Voltron has to do with it. Will Shiro being back part of the team cause any drama? We'll see. Right off the bat, I want to say that I can almost kind of see what they were going for with this episode. So with Shiro back, and by the way, he gets a new haircut, he sort of, even though he can't pilot Black Lion anymore, he still sort of is pretty much leader via proxy. Like, he's mission control now. He gives commands to everybody, tells them what to do in this situation and whatnot. The episode deals with them trying to interfere on a Galra operation that, from the outside, doesn't make any sense. And it leads to a sort of conflict between him and Keith over, A, who's to step down from Voltron, but that's quickly resolved because, hey, it's Shiro. And B, you know, they're different leadership styles. Keith is more about the short term, whereas Shiro's more about the long term. But, you know, for me, I think it would have been more effective if they had kept Shiro away from the team for longer, because it would have let Keith grow more as a leader. We could have maybe established then that Keith's methods, while different, are still valid, right? And then Shiro can come in, try acting like the leader, and then him and Keith could, I don't know, have a conflict about it. I don't know, I feel like that would have been more interesting, more effective, but, again, the way they did it here was not terrible, I suppose. Or heck, another thing too I probably would have changed is still had it be, because Zarkon could still pilot Black Lion, as we saw, and control it. So, if Black Lion could can so easily reject Shiro, why couldn't it just say, screw you to Zarkon, you know? It's confusing to me, but take what you can get, I guess. Overall, the episode wasn't terrible. It was mostly an action-focused episode, which, you know, that's fine. I'd rather they focus on action than comedy. But yeah, it's... I feel like it's something they should have brought about later. But with them deciding to cut the season in half, I guess they had to speed things up a little bit. I don't know. Oh, something else too I forgot to note in earlier episodes. I find it funny now that with everyone's Bayard switching, but not their suits, their weapons now don't even match their color either. Whereas Keith now has a black sword, Lance now has a red gun, and Laura now has a whip, which, that's weird, because didn't Season 1 say all their weapons were just tied to the Bayards themselves, and that the black one was the only freeform one? Am I just imagining that? Or are they just taking a note from Voltron Force and having the weapons be just kind of whatever fits their personality? Well, whatever. If nothing else, Lance has more of a sniper rifle now, so that's nice. Anyway, final episode is The Legend Begins. Let's see how this quote-unquote season finale holds up. Well, that was the finale, and I'm just gonna say it here. This is an episode we should have gotten back in either Season 1 or Season 2. It establishes a lot of backstory for Zarkon in particular, and it would have added so much more to him as a character, and it would have made me, at least, give much more of a shit about him and Hagar being villains. And they would have come across as much less boring, and I would have known more about what they were about. That said, one aspect I really don't like is that, keeping up with the theme of this season, just kind of copy-pasting scripts, this one is ripped directly from the Avatar and the Fire Lord from Avatar The Last Airbender. However, where it fucks up there is, whereas the Fire Lord became evil of his own mind, his own hubris, his own dark thoughts, ultimately, Zarkon and Hagar become evil because they are infected by some otherworldly space virus. Pretty damn lame, gotta say. But, all in all, something that also impressed me about this episode is the old team has a much more enjoyable, like, immediately enjoyable dynamic than the team we had in Season 1, which is fucking impressive, really. Because remember, I said, especially in Season 1, it really didn't feel like they were friends. Like, yeah, okay, we eventually got there, but all throughout Season 1, I just felt like everyone was kind of being an asshole to one another, and even for, like, the parts of Season 2. Here, though, they work together as a unit. They all have very distinguishable personalities. They all play off each other pretty well. There's a nod to Lotor's helmet from the 80s, which I thought was cute. And speaking of which, Planet Doom has been renamed to Planet Dibazal, which, that's Zarkon's name in Go Lion, for those who don't know. But it's just a much more fun ride on, to the point where I was like, why couldn't we follow these guys? I don't know. It would have been made for a much more interesting show, at the very least. At least in the short run. But what can you do? So, what else is there to really say? I guess I'll just go into final thoughts. This is only the first half of Season 3. I mean, I know they're advertising that in October 13th, that's Season 4, but that's most likely going to be only 6 episodes, so come on. They basically just cut the season in half. And that said, as of a so far type deal, honestly, this is the best season as of yet. Now, there were only a couple episodes where I deemed, like, bad or had really stupid stuff in them. And overall, there was a great amount of improvement here. But the thing is, it came at the cost of them taking ideas from a bunch of other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I've watched shows and I've played games, that have taken from various other things and have been able to twist them in new and interesting ways, and that made them enjoyable. But here, it's almost direct copy-pastes. And while, yes, it's more enjoyable than Seasons 1 and 2, which were mostly their own ideas with a couple nods to, the other Voltron shows, the fact that them just copy-pasting most of their stuff leads to be more enjoyable. I don't know, man. That says something about your quality of writing. But, so yeah, minus points for them not being able to stand on their own, but plus points by the sheer fact that at least I actually gave a fuck about what was going on this season for the most part. I actually wanted more of certain characters, especially Lotor and his gang. They are definitely the highlight of this fucking season, honestly. And again, it's more just a placement issue of episodes, really, that holds it down, and, the other points I point out here. And I'm sure when I review this on the podcast, which, as of the time of this recording, will be tomorrow night, I'll probably think of more faults I have with the show, because that has happened with Season 1 and Season 2, where I think back on, I'm like, oh, that was dumb, that was stupid, etc. But as of right now, it is very much a marked improvement. So, I don't know. If you hated Seasons 1 and 2, will this win you over? I mean, no, probably not. Because I'm the type of person where... And there's nothing wrong if you're this type of viewer where... Oh, the show gets good at, episode 50 out of 100, therefore the show is saved. No, I hate that. I want to show, my general rule of thumb is, if it's not a show I'm personally tied to, like it is here with Voltron, if I'm not interested by, episode, 5 or 6, give or take, right, then I just say, fuck it, and I go watch something else. But, if you're the type of person who's nah, man, whenever I watch something, I want to stick with it no matter fucking what, then, at least the road gets better for you down the line. I can at least say that. Meanwhile, if you loved Seasons 1 and 2, then you'll probably love Season 3. Probably, though, the biggest thing about Season 3 that is also a detriment, now that I'm thinking about it, is there isn't really a lot of character-focus episodes. The only characters who really get focus are Keith, Shiro, and Lotor. They're the main highlights of this. Yeah, everyone else has little moments, but it would have been nice to have some character-focus episodes. I know that's a critique I make of every season, but it applies here as well. But at least with here, they were focusing on characters I actually gave a damn about. Outside of Shiro, I still don't really care about him, but Keith has grown as a character to where I like him as a character now. The Blade of Marmor episode in Season 2 really helped with that. And again, like I just said, Lotor is definitely a highlight. He is an entertaining villain to watch. So, I would say check out Season 3 just for him. But I totally get if you've watched Seasons 1 and or 2, and you're like, man, fuck this shit, I'm not continuing. That's completely understandable. I would do that too, in most normal circumstances. So, but yeah, if you're in already, I don't see how anyone could be like, Season 1, 2, awesome. Season 3, shit. I would not unless you really liked the really childish and stupid humor from the first 2 seasons, because Season 3 is almost devoid of humor in comparison to the other 2. It mainly focuses on drama and action, which, you know what? Good. Marked improvement. If it were up to me, I'd get rid of the comedy, fucking entirely. Not. But that's just me, so... And when it comes to Season 4, yeah, I'll do a follow-up video. I'll probably be cheeky and call it Season 3.2 or something. I don't know. But yeah, you can expect that as well. So, if nothing else, I'm at least interested in Season 4, because this season actually ends with a teaser for Season 4. It seems like stuff's about to go down. Sure, man, I'm all for it. Go for it. But, with that said, what rating would I give this as of right now? I would actually give it... I know I said, 2 out of 6 and 3 out of 6 for the other 2 when it came to, the podcast reviews. So this one, just keeping with the trend of going up, I'll just say 4 out of 6. That might change as of the podcast recording, because I know my score's lowered on the podcast reviews for Seasons 1 and 2, so who knows? I've got to put some notes together, I've got to figure it out, but we'll see. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's my review of Season 3 of Voltron, Legendary Defender. you'll hear my full thoughts on the podcast episode whenever that gets uploaded. Take care.